Welcome to ScareLA. Extreme haunts and attractions push their guests to their limit, physically, mentally, and emotionally. In 2013, ScareLA introduced fans to several of the world's top extreme haunters. Today, we bring these sultans of sadism together once again, but this time, we're including their victims, who will share their own stories and confront their own fears. Please welcome to the stage, from Freakling brothers, JT Mollner and their victim, McKamey. From Blackout, Josh Randall and their victim, Russell Eaton. From McKarrley, Russ McKamey and their victim, Tall Boway. And your moderator, founder of Theme Park Adventure and programming producer for ScareLA, Rick West.
You sick bastards have come to see these sick bastards, haven't you? Extreme haunt fans in the house? That's what you're here for. It does a body good, right? So, when we started ScareLA, our very first year, I hosted a panel with these guys, and we talked about the evolution of extreme haunts and what's going on in the world of haunted attractions with these guys. So now, here we are 2 years later, we have brought them back, and we've brought back friends. We brought back some of their victims. So that's a really interesting dynamic. We're going to hear from everybody and talk about their experiences. But for those of you in the audience who are not aware of these haunts or what they're all about, or these horror experiences and what they're all about, we're going to take just a little look. We're going to have some pictures, and we're going to do some video. Is that all right with you guys? Blackout. All right, so what are we looking at here?
That's a good question. We're looking at a couple photos. It looks like from the 2013 show. That was a New York City performance.
All right. And you're not allowed to know anything else.
Let's see. Those are
naked men.
Some naked men. A woman who will most likely be naked soon after that moment.
Because Blackout?
Because. The two gentlemen were from the house show in New York City. The young lady on the right is from the 2013 off-season here in Los Angeles, which we were just discussing backstage as being an invitation-only off-season that we did here.
All right. And I think we have a video. Roll that beautiful footage to life. There you go. Bring your kids, bring the family. It'll be fun. Okay, and now I just shit myself. That's fantastic. Not uncommon with these guys. Okay. Next we have Freakling Brothers, the victim experience in fabulous Las Vegas. So let's take a look here and see what are we looking at here. Those are Gates of Hell pictures.
It's fellatio with a cross.
It happens.
That's my father and I. We're the creators of the victim experience.
Nice.
And
what is the victim experience?
The victim experience is an experience that victims go through.
Fantastic. Next, here we go. You know what? That's all you're gonna get. So let's take a look. We have video, I think, next. All right, all right. So, just to clarify, because it is a little confusing, Freakling Brothers, they have, during Halloween, they have an amazing haunted attraction in Las Vegas. Has anybody been to that out there in Vegas? All right. You must go because Freakling Brothers and because Vegas. They have Gates of Hell, which is their extreme haunt during the Halloween season. And then the rest of the time, they have this little ditty called the Victim Experience. And it's an experience that victims go through. And we're going to find out more about that in just a few minutes. I think you know who this guy is. All right, Russ, we're going to look at your show and tell here.
Okay.
What in the hell are we looking at here?
Oh, just a whole lot of fun, you know?
Sure.
Yeah, just stuff. You know, it's always ever changing, so I'm not sure what I'm looking at there. I mean, I know, but you got to come to the haunt to really find out what it really is all about. But,
So basically, this panel is like 10 minutes. So, all right, let's take it. Now, what in the hell are we looking at here?
it's funny, see those two guys down there on the left-hand side? Those are the Mario brother, Steve and Ryan, and they're out there, Steve and Ryan, you guys are there. And they're a part of the acting team now, but that's when they're not so tough. That's when they were crying like little babies right there. So, because you have to go through it to be an actor. And yeah, they'll tell you all about that.
So, now, what is the latest oriental? How long is the McKamey Mannor experience?
All right, it takes 8 hours to get through. Only 2 people go in at a time. But nobody has survived it. And as you all know, that we get the tough groups in there. We get the big tattooed biker guys like these guys. We get the Navy SEALs. We get the Marines, law enforcement. And none have made it yet. And there's no quitting. Once you're inside, there's no quitting. There's no getting out. The only way to stop it is if you physically or mentally break down to a point to where it's dangerous and I have to bring you out. As you all know, there's no safe word. Don't come. Don't do it.
All right, then. I believe we have video next.
I don't care! I am here to hurt you! I can't do it. I can't do it.
No, I can't do it. 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 I want to get out of here.
I can't do it.
I just want to go home with my grandmother and my daughter and my husband, please. Please, they want me home too. They want me home. They don't want me here.
You won't make it through. You won't make it through. It's too much. It's too much. That sucks.
I want to go home. I'm leaving McKamey Manor. Thank God, do not come here.
Please let me help. No one should be here. It's horrible.
I think it's every possible horror movie there is, and you could combine it all in one, and that would be it over the Mannor, right there.
What the funky monkey? Russ. Sweet Jesus. So you guys are watching this, I'm watching this, and we're like, who are these people that want to do this kind of attraction? And we're going to meet them. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Hannah. Give it up for Hannah. So, Hannah, how did you decide to go from something safe like a normal haunted house or horror experience to something like these? And which of these experiences? These guys don't just go to one, they cross over and do them all because they're... So, Hannah, what got you into this and which one of these experiences have you done?
I've done Blackout 8 million bajillion times. I've done all the Blackouts out in LA, and I've done Victim Experience, and you couldn't pay me enough money to do McKamey Mannor. I like pushing my limits. I don't get scared very easily. You if something pops out at you and goes boo, of course you're gonna jump and go, ah, and then you're fine. But I like to feel a little real terror every now and then, but still have the comfort of knowing that it's not real, I guess, if that makes sense, with a safety word. I did find my limit, finally, and that was that victim experience. I said the safety word there.
And we're going to be very careful how we talk about these things because they're very secretive, as you'll find out. And that's part of the appeal and the allure, is people want to know what really is going on behind these closed doors. And really, in the cases of all of our guys up here, you got to come and find out yourselves.
Oh yeah, so those are my knees after victim experience. Oh, I did victim experience, I went to Vegas, did victim experience, came back, did Blackout, and there was it was the elements, Blackout elements, I don't know if anybody did that, but there's a lot of crawling, and so those were my knees after doing that.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Blackout.
Sure you were crawling.
That was, that was a little combination of both Blackout and victim experience. And then, in the middle is after victim experience. The best part about that is, after we did victim experience, I went with 3 friends. We got into a really bad car crash, like leaving. Nobody was hurt, everyone was okay, don't have to go off. But we left the car, so we crashed the car, and then we got out, and we were like, well, all right, that just happened. We were so calm. So calm. It was nothing because we had just done victim experience. And also it was great when the police showed up because we're covered in fake blood and dirt. Looking at us like...
They've got 80 ambulances showing up.
Yeah. But we were fine. And then that was after Blackout. The last one
Over there.
Yeah. So good one.
We won't talk about Blackout. First rule about Blackout, we don't talk about Blackout. We have Russell with us. You brought your fan club right here.
Hello.
Tell us about your twisted self, Russell.
Hello. I have done Blackout 19 times total. You didn't know that?
You didn't have a specific number.
Yeah, well,
He's done it more than Josh.
That's impressive.
19 times total. I've been very lucky in doing it in multiple states. I've traveled to New York a couple of times and done shows there. I've done off seasons. I've done one of the many elusive and mysterious invite-only shows in 2014. I discovered in 2012, and it spoke to me. And for victim experience, correct me if I'm wrong about any of this, I'm the second person ever to do victim experience. And actually the first person, Omar Hansen, is in the crowd today. And the way I discovered victim experience was Omar called me and said, get to Vegas on this day, you have a ticket. And I certainly was familiar with JT's work, and that's when I started investigating. I was very nervous, but I'm very glad that I did. And I went back, and I don't know how many people have done victim twice and never called safety, and I have actually done that. So
Nobody's done that, Russell, except for you.
are you serious? My stomach just dropped like a roller coaster.
Well, if you throw up, somebody will eat it. Okay. Look at that. Look at him having fun. What the hell are we looking at here, Russell?
By the way, the first picture with my name was from Blackout, and if you look closely at that picture, I have been marked. They definitely left a mark on me physically. And for victim experience, that was after my very first time. And with Omar, who had done the very first time. And that's actually one of the rare, me screaming in the overexposed photo. I don't think you do that anymore. You take pictures? I don't think you do. But that was inside victim experience about 7 minutes after the absolute worst experience of my life.
Thank you, good night. Towel! Dude, there's restaurants and stuff. So what in the hell are we looking at here? We can kind of know, but we want to know what you're thinking.
This was actually, I consider this to be a break. So these are cockroaches, and they're crawling all over my face and in my mouth. And truly, this was the most comfortable part of the experience. You're in a coffin and it's cozy. Yeah, it was nice.
Nice. It was nice. And then there's this.
Yeah, so this is interesting because a lot of these photos are the first time I've actually seen them. And, yeah.
Now this is interesting. What emotions, what kind of thoughts are going through your mind right now?
Well, the one on the top left, I thought it was somebody else actually. It's kind of hard to recognize yourself when you look like that, because that's not my day-to-day appearance.
But the other two are, I mean, totally.
The other two I totally look like all the time. I'm against showers. I like to be Medusa.
So you're a haunter. That's fantastic.
That's just
Exactly.
cosplay.
Yeah. We call that cosplay. Okay, so let's talk to the proprietors a little bit. Why the need? Why the need to go up and beyond the norm of a haunted attraction or a scare experience and really push people to their limits and, in most cases, well beyond?
A few years ago we opened Gates of Hell, which was as far as we thought we could go. There was touching involved, and it was rated R, so there was profanity and these type of things. And I know that when I was a kid, I was never interested in watching PG horror films. I feel like the genre itself artistically kind of loses its integrity if it's not pushed to the limit. So I feel that way with haunts as well. The only reason we hadn't gone further is because I didn't think I was legally allowed. So I realized there were a few people out there doing extreme haunts. I'd never been to one. And I sat down with my dad and we started talking about ideas. And we'd heard a lot of the hype for the very few. Blackout by far the most popular, and I think the first. We read descriptions, and it was very important to me we didn't go to one of those because I didn't want to be too derivative. I wanted us to do our own thing, but we just did it, and we went all the way. And artistically, for us, because we do consider this art and performance art, we really, the only point is to push the boundary and to create something to give all of you who have been totally desensitized something that can still scare you. And that was the excitement for us when it came to developing the victim experience. Some people don't think it's right, and people are upset that we're doing it, and we get hate mail all the time. And for me, I say, like, fuck you, because basically...
You just said the F word.
Basically, our experience, our performance art is for whoever wants to purchase it, whoever wants to show up and enjoy it and experience it. And we don't push anybody to do the victim experience. And it's definitely not a money-making endeavor. In fact, we usually lose money on victim or barely break even. We do it for the love, and we do it because it inspires a reaction. And our other haunts there's a balance of the two. There's a commercial element. We want to make some profit, and then there's an artistic element. But with Victim, it's everything I've ever wanted to create that's nightmarish, and everything I've ever wanted to throw at people who can handle it. And what I realized is the great satisfaction for me, and I'm not sure if the two of you feel the same way, but I'm sure you do, but after our first season, I thought we were going to be creating nightmares and actually possibly psychologically damaging people to a certain extent, but I was okay with doing that if people wanted to experience it, if you came and said, I want to be damaged. But what I didn't realize till after our first season was that I think the type of people who were signing up for it were highly intelligent, very adventurous, very curious, and we just had this kind of cream of the crop element that would come and go through these experiences. And one thing I never expected was afterwards people would come out, Russell being one of them, and the first thing they would say was thank you and give me a hug. And we ended up bonding, being personal friends with a number of our initial victims from the first season, and we got letters that would say, I don't have to climb Everest, I've done the victim experience. I feel a renewed sense of self, things feel easier now. I mean, we're not in the business of we're not therapists, but if we can offer something...
You keep therapists in business.
If we can offer, it was the little gem, it was kind of a reward at the end of the season, because I realized that all of our haters, all of the critics who don't like what we do, I started not listening to them anymore, because I realized that the people who chose to come were mentally ready, mentally apt. We put them through a very extreme kind of preparation. We don't want anybody going into the victim experience who doesn't really, really want to. It's kind of like when you tell somebody, don't try acid unless you're really ready to, right? Because if you're not an adventurous person who wants to try acid, you're probably gonna freak out and jump off a cliff or something. So the same thing with victim experience. You can grow, you can challenge yourself, you can expand by experiencing this type of thing in all three of our attractions, I believe, if you're willing to do it, you want to do it, and it's something that you need. So that's for me the most rewarding thing about doing this show, aside from just terrorizing people.
Josh, why?
Well, I think the most interesting thing for Chris and I, and for those of you that don't know, my business partner is Chris. We create the show together. He's currently in New York right now, getting ready for something else that I can't really talk about. But the biggest thing for us is that we didn't come from the haunted house community. We never really came from the horror community. We came from a theatrical background. Chris and I have been working together for about 10 years, doing really weird avant-garde productions of classical shows and Shakespeare and Chekhov. So for us, it actually grew from a really strong desire to connect with our audience in a different way. And it was really more purely theatrical, and it wasn't until we hit probably like Trans World, I think in 2011, before we kind of realized what effect Blackout was having within the haunted house community. And then once that happened, I think we sort of picked up the torch a little bit and ran with it. But for us, the desire was always to create a connection with your audience. And theatrically, generally speaking, most everything you do from a theatrical perspective is to take care of your audience. You want to make sure that everybody sees, everybody can hear everything, everybody has a good image of what's happening on the stage. And Blackout, potentially in a stubborn teenager kind of way, was just really a response to that, and sort of saying, well, what happens if we don't take care of the audience? What happens if the point of the show is to come in and say, no, JT already threw it out, so, no, fuck you, audience. This is our show, and you're gonna see it the way we want you to see it, and you're gonna do exactly what we want you to do. And sort of as JT was saying, all of a sudden the responses to that, I think it was just a very unique thing that people were doing within that community. And we started in 2009 in the middle of the summer, so just a lot of people kind of jumped on it. And as JT was saying, the responses were really emotional. And it was very clear that we were having an effect on the audience. It was very clear we were sort of filling a void that hadn't been there before. And so, we just kind of went with it.
Russ.
Okay, well, same thing with us too. And we tried to keep it underground for a long time because we've been doing this for several years. And then I guess a video went viral. And
You're not underground anymore.
I know, which has caused a lot of problems for me. Because our little haunt was just a total labor of love, a little mom and pop thing that we do with a few people. It's not for money. It's we put on, it's a big budget show, but we don't charge a penny. Cost of admission is 4 cans of dog food or a bag of dog food that we donate to a rescue society. So that's the price to get in. But it's all about putting on the craziest, awesome show that we can, and really to entertain the folks and make it a very cinematic adventure for them, something that they're not going to forget. Sometimes I want them to forget, some people don't want to forget about it. But we never want to hurt anybody psychologically or physically. That's why before you come into the haunt, you can't just walk up. You got to be selected. There's thousands on the waiting list. You've got to go through a huge screening process. You gotta be selected by me, you gotta be videoed. You gotta have a letter from your doctor and your psychologist saying that you're okay to go through it. They gotta watch the video and write off on it, sign off that, yeah, you're okay. You have to have a background check to get in. So there's a lot of things going on. And we have to do that because we have a lot of crazy loons out there that want to, cause us a lot of damage. In fact, the reason why Carol's not here today is because we had threats against our home and our dogs. If we both came to ScareLA, they were going to do something to the home today. And we get that all the time, death threats. We were going to be moving the hunt to Illinois. We started to move in, and they shot the windows out. They were praying in front of the building to keep us out. They were threatening to burn it down, bricks through the windows, shooting up the cars of the owners. This is the kind of stuff that I go through on a daily basis, and it's insane when we're just the nicest bunch of people you'd ever want to meet. We're just trying to entertain you guys. It's all smoke and mirrors to a degree. It's smoke and mirrors, but it's absolutely real at the same time. But it's still entertainment, and that's my goal. I'm just trying to entertain and give you an experience that you've never experienced anywhere before, and hopefully you're gonna go back years from now thinking, that was the best thing we ever did. You'll be that, we'll be that haunt when the kids ask, hey Mom, this haunt's really cool that I just went to. Let me tell you about a haunt. Cool, I want to be that guy, and I'm sure these folks up here do as well. It's just all about entertaining, and we love it.
Can I add something?
Sure, for it.
Yeah, I think one of the challenges for us, me and my dad, I'm sure you've gone through it as well, is finding a way to not protect the audience, like you were saying, and create something that's not fun, and it's extremely challenging. It's a totally different experience than a haunted house where it's fun and scary. This isn't fun. But doing that and also protecting the audience on a base level. So, like bungee jumping. I mean, you're gonna experience everything there is up into the point where you hit the ground. So we have to make sure that and one of our main goals always is safety, and making sure that we can create a safe environment where you might get banged up a bit, you might feel like you could die, but you won't. And we're not going to make you ill, we're not going to make you sick, we're not going to break a bone, we're not going to do anything like that because we can't and we don't want to. We want you to get out of there and be able to recover that night. So that's one of the main challenges for us, I think. And I think we ended up, I know we're a fairly physical show and there are differences between all of our shows as to what the physicality entails. But for me, it's always been, I feel like there's no place further to push. We have to find different things each year to do that are equally as safe and as terrifying, but we can't push any further. And I think that's what has been inspiring me the most about this and has been the most satisfying. And I feel like we found the line. Like, I don't think we could go any further without, not feeling right about it. So, anyway.
I was going to say, I kind of agree that, we've been doing this for 14 years, and no one's ever been hurt. We've never had a lawsuit against us because we're so specific on covering ourselves with how we can back things up, because everybody is filmed every second of the tour, so it's really hard to come back and say something. So yeah, safety is always paramount with us as well, like everybody up here. Even though it looks dangerous, and it is dangerous, we are kind of threading that line a little bit, but that's why, I'm there every second of the tour to make sure that guys like Tal here are actually okay, even though they think they're not.
That makes us feel so much better.
Doesn't it though? I'm your friend. Who's your buddy? Me.
It's Uncle Russ. So we throw the term haunt out very freely, especially here at ScareLA, which is the Halloween and horror convention. I'm going to ask the victims, and then I will ask the proprietors. Are these experiences, are they haunts? Or is that a mislabel?
I actually prefer to use the term extreme horror simulations. To me, a haunt is something that might have supernatural elements, or it's the maze dynamic. To me, these are things that your neighbor could do to you. There's no supernatural in it. It plays with the mind, but is all reality-based. So to me, they're simulations. that involve elements of horror, something you might see in a film. So to me, the word haunt is misleading, even though it's the coined term, so it's the most easiest to refer to. But to me, the haunt doesn't really do it justice.
Anna?
Yeah. When you think about haunts, you're thinking about like, you know, popcorn and pumpkins and fun Halloween costumes, which, I mean, I don't know, what is a haunt? You know, can we describe a haunt as just all of the things we love about horror in a room? I guess it just kind of depends on the person. I think it is better to describe it as a horror simulation, because really what it is to give you the feeling, the idea of you are kidnapped and this is what it feels like, but you still have a safety net to fall back on. Yeah.
Russell?
I agree, it's more like an extreme haunt simulation or horror simulation. I think the term immersive theater is really thrown around a lot these days. It's sort of the buzzword in the theater community. And I see, the very first time I ever went through Blackout, I have a theatrical background, I've worked in haunts at various points in my life, and I immediately saw the theatricality, and at points, the absolute beauty that is inside Blackout. And so I think it's actually a disservice to Blackout to call it a haunt to some degree, because I think it's something much more elegant and beautiful than that, period. And it may sound weird that I'm waxing poetic about this extreme experience. For me, it's more of a psychological extreme experience than physical sometimes. When I went through victim experience, I absolutely saw the haunt roots. But to me, you can't classify it as a haunt because it's more of a role-playing scenario.
Whatever kind of role play you normally do.
No comments. But you see the haunt. Actually, the very first time I went through
it is role play. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, and you are a very, very, very active participant in those scenes. And that is, dare I say, the fun part of it.
Yeah, I wanted to add, I think when you're going through a normal haunt, it's more of like you're viewing the horror film, you're watching another movie. But when you're doing these extreme haunts, the more immersive, is you're a part of it. And that's a completely different experience than you would ever get from anything else, just walking through, watch, oh, ha, ha, you got cut up. What if you're about to get cut up? It's a completely different experience. I've never been cut up inside one of those things.
And also, piggybacking on what you said earlier about, I hate to use the word standard, but what most people think of as haunt, after my first time through Victim, somebody asked me to describe it, and I said, imagine the haunt you're used to, whether it be something like, you know, what Universal does or Knott's does. Imagine you went into one of those haunts, except you went into it all by yourself, and those characters were real. And those characters had your permission to take you out violently. They could touch you, they could tackle you, they could do anything they wanted to, and you signed on for this.
But the best part about it, it feels real, but the best part about it, though, is you have the permission to say stop.
Yes.
For the most part.
Which I feel is very, very important.
I think it's very important.
From a psychological aspect, I think it's important.
Russell's the perfect, he's like the ideal victim. He really is, because Russell... Russell's the ideal victim because we have a mutual trust, right? Now, to an extent.
I have trusted this man and his crew with my life, period.
The beauty of Russell is that I think, and a lot of our victims are similar, but Russell just kind of epitomizes the perfection of the audience. And the reason is because Russell not only is up for the challenge, and he wants to make it, and he enjoys it, like it's a thrill, but it's also frightening. But he also appreciates the art behind all of it, and he's not just coming out. I mean, there's nothing worse, and we really don't get these with Victim, but I expected more people coming out and saying, "Oh fuck yeah, I got beat up," or I got like. It's just not. It's not that. Like, this is supposed to be immersive, artistic, unique, and it's not for everybody, but Russell really, I mean, he gets the metaphor, he gets why we're doing certain things in certain spots, he really does. And when you talk about an extreme haunt like this, some people laugh, but it's the way we feel. And that's why I want to check out Blackout, because I know it is theater, you know, and I think that's great. And ours isn't nearly as cerebral, I don't think, but it's definitely supposed to be a certain type of performance art. It's only for certain people.
Tal's kind of interesting because he's actually a psych major and he sees folks, and he was doing his thesis, right, at the time?
Yeah, I'm working on my doctoral dissertation.
And he was so wigged out by what happened that took us a long time to bring him back to say, like, no, you should keep on going with what you're doing, because he wanted out of what you were, you know, as far as all the work you were putting in. And I don't know, it was interesting because we never had someone with the psych background before. And I think it kind of affected you, right?
Yes.
Still?
Still.
So let me just jump in. We could talk all afternoon about this stuff, but our hour is burning very quickly here. Rapid fire for the proprietors. Russ, haunt, not a haunt?
Yes, both. Yes.
God damn it, Russ.
Because we have so many bells and whistles in there besides all the interactive stuff. So yeah, it's a haunt, it's everything. It's everything.
Was that real vomit?
Oh yeah, you will be vomiting on each other, and you'll be, and I'm very clean, so you will clean it up yourself as well. And
you'll make them eat it.
Yeah,
right?
You'll eat your vomit, yes.
So gates of hell aside, victim experience, haunt, not a haunt?
Not a haunt, absolutely not.
Okay, Blackout. It comes around in October. Haunt, not a haunt.
At Blackout, the go-to phrase is an immersive horror experience. That said, hell yeah, it's a new form of a haunted house.
Okay, right on. So what I want to do is, if I could bring the house lights up a little bit, I know that you guys have some questions to ask victims and or proprietors, so we will get to some of those questions. Right here in the middle, we got a microphone coming down. I always jump on them before they're ready with the microphones, because I'm sick, twisted that way. But I'm not going to eat cockroaches.
They're not that bad.
Compared to what?
Hi guys, thanks for doing this. You guys, first of all, I must say that it takes a lot, probably takes a lot out of you guys to put this together. And I want to ask, is there any room for improvement? Like, how do you guys keep on one-upping yourself?
I'll start. For us, it's not really about one-upping ourselves. I think JT kind of nailed it. I think we've reached limits for every single show. And so for us, it's about kind of approaching each new experience and each new project with a new set of rules and with a new goal in mind. In 6 years, I think we've produced over 18 different experiences. Some have been in hotel rooms, some have been in cargo vans, some have been in warehouses, some have been in theaters and just numerous other places. So for us, the rules change every single game, and I think most of the participants can tell you, going through one show doesn't necessarily prepare you for what's going to happen when you go into the next show, because we're genuinely trying to do something different at that point.
For us, I've just touched the tip of the iceberg. I've got so much more to do. If you think it's crazy now, you have no idea what's
Lots more vomit.
You have no idea. And no, we're going to continue on, and it's a challenge, but that's what keeps me going. That keeps me revved up. I love pushing it more and more and more. So pay attention.
I think I'm actually scared. Like I don't think I could do it. I think it's the vomit thing that I have a phobia.
He did look away when
I
he saw you.
I could. It's like put something in my mouth and it's over with. I mean I kind of already
Let
said
it go. Don't even. That's another
saying all the right
convention
things today. I feel like I said before, we found our limit, we found our boundaries. I wouldn't feel right going like further in the direction, but we had a discussion last year and decided every year we would do something equally as terrifying but different. So that's the challenge each year. That's the biggest challenge for us. We have kind of three set pieces within the show, like tentpole items that kind of are the spots that get people, and it depends what kind of person you are, but those three spots now that we have in there always get, whenever people tap out, it's in one of those spots. So each year we try and replace one of those spots, or maybe two of those spots, with something equally as offensive, and equally as terrifying.
I just want to interject really quickly. This was the first time in 6 years, this year, one of the shows we did this year, was the first time in 6 years that Chris and I walked out of that experience and genuinely looked at each other and went, that was too much.
All right, another question?
God, I wish it would have come.
Right over here. Here we go. Nope, we got it right there.
Okay, so my question is for the gentleman and the victim, and it's actually for everyone. But you earlier you had said that he is the perfect victim. What constitutes a perfect victim, or to complete your?
Ask Bill
for all of you.
He completes me.
Too soon?
It's so sentimental.
No, I thought it was funny.
Well, thanks.
I guess maybe I articulated that improperly, but from my perspective, as a creator, he's the perfect audience. He's the audience, the type of audience I enjoy the most, because he just really gets it. He gets it, and most of our victims do, because they don't come unless they're up for it, like I said. But Russell really gets it, and it's nice. It's nice to be appreciated, and to have people come and actually, you create something for a certain fan base. Listen, every single thing that happens in Victim Experience, I test on myself. Me and my father go through everything. Like, we make sure that it's okay. Like, we do it. We have to. We're not going to inflict anything upon somebody else that we haven't done ourselves. However, I would not pay to go through Victim Experience. I would not be the perfect victim. I wouldn't. Love horror, but I'm not. I don't know. I don't know if I would pay to do it. But there are people out there who want to go that far, and I want to give it to them. And so when we do it, if we have people who come and don't appreciate it and get angry, which is very rare, that's kind of it's the antithesis of Russell. So that was my point with that.
Can I jump in for one?
Yeah.
In preparation for this panel, I went back and because Omar were on the very first night of Victim Experience, you had asked, like, give me feedback, get in touch. And I went back and I wrote you, I think, 2 emails the week afterwards. And one was, I look at this, and I even wrote it in the ScareLA bio for myself. Like, this is psychological exploration for me. Like, this is not me just trying to look for a thrill, be scared. It's more than that. And that's why I responded so heavily to the Victim Experience is, yes, it's frightening. Yes, it's theater. Yes, it's an exploration. And I wrote JT a couple of days later and I said, thank you for that exploration. And actually, in my very first, it wasn't the physical stuff that got me. It was the psychology behind what was going on in the scenes. And that's what works best for me. And I will say it about Blackout as well. I'm one of those people that's been lucky enough in Blackout, and you read about it online, of some people go through Blackout and have very negative experiences, and some people go through Blackout and have moments of absolute revelation and clarity. And I think I've had 2 that I'm sorry. 2 that absolutely changed my life. And one of them happened in New York last year, and I can't explain exactly what happened, but I was in a very intense situation inside Blackout, and they know me well enough to know sort of my triggers, and they did an extremely aggressive physical scene with me, and in the middle of it, they asked me something, and the answer that came out of my mouth stunned me, and it revealed something about myself that both was sort of like a moment of absolute devastation and absolute joy at the same time. I was wondering, I don't know if you're aware of that moment happened. But the show got very awkward for about 15 seconds.
It does that.
So I think you thought because I know you were in the room at the time among other cast members, but
I know what you're talking about.
It was just one of those ones like, wait, I just said that? Holy crap. Now what do you want me to do? What? And it just, I had to pause for a moment. But that's the psychological aspect of exploration. Is like, holy crap, they just showed that about myself? That was something I was unaware of, and this weird, twisted, dark theater piece brings that out of me. And I had the same thing with victim experience. Like, there was actually the most terrifying thing for victim experience for me, and I told JT this a few days after I did it the first time. There's a quiet moment. There is this beautiful, quiet moment in victim experience. And I wrote him later and I said, you need to know that really shook me. Because I knew if there's this quiet moment in victim experience, something really bad was coming. And that's when it started working on my head the most effectively.
All right, one more quick question. Let's go right here. Here comes the mic. Yeah.
Josh, do you plan to go back to more of the solo experiences this year for LA? When do we plan to hear dates about that? And JT, can you tell us about the new addition to the trilogy?
No, I'm sorry, I can't answer any of those questions.
I personally liked the group experience. Just
Thank you.
putting that out there.
Thank you.
It was a lot.
Yeah, there were definitely some really interesting.
I'll say this, Blackout's changing and has been changing a lot. I think you're going to be finding a lot of new mediums, places, and things surrounding the Blackout brand, and you'll just basically have to stay tuned.
Give me a second.
Yeah. We're whispering here.
I promise I'll tell you about it.
We'll snowball into that. We'll snowball. Okay. First of all, I want to thank you guys so much for spending some time with us this afternoon. You guys have fun listening to these guys? So I want to ask one more closing question. We've kind of touched on it, but so it's a new year, a new haunt season coming. What is next? What should victims that have done your experiences, what should they expect? And people that are thinking about, maybe I want to try that. What is on the immediate horizon for McKamey Mannor?
A lot of changes happening here. This November, we've been invited to come to New York City, Long Island. We're going to be part of a new haunt called Dystopia. 6 nights only, mid-November. It's going to be 18 and above, and it's going to be pretty cool. There's a new television series coming up with McKamey Mannor on the Sci-Fi Channel, and we're hoping for good things with that, as long as we can come to grips with how much they'll let me do and how much they won't. But it looks like it's going to be a weekly series, a challenge survival horror type thing. So that's pretty exciting as well. And we're looking for contestants as well. So if you're interested, let me know. And then the new Mannor is looking for a new home. So we're going to probably roll out of San Diego and find some user-friendly state that appreciates what we do and doesn't want to burn us to the ground. And so if you're looking for us to come to your neighborhood, put a good word in. Maybe we'll be there.
I answered this a little bit, but we're working on a lot of new collaborations with different people that you guys will be hearing about soon. There are going to be some new mediums that we're exploring, some new cities and some countries as well.
I'm directing a Western right now, a feature film. It's called Outlaws and Angels. I flew out here to do this, and I'm going back there, and I promised them that I would plug the movie, so I hope that's cool.
He flew out here just to talk to you guys, and then he's flying back. What do you think about that?
So, that's it. Just watch out for Outlaws and Angels. It should be in theaters next year. We got some big stars in it. I can't talk about them yet, but it's going to be an ultra-violent home invasion Western. So,
as they all are.
Yeah. This year we're doing Victim Experience 3, and some of you don't probably know how it works, but we sell 5 tickets at midnight. You go through one at a time. We spend a few hours at midnight for only a few nights during the month of October. We sold like 100 tickets the first year. Every year now we sell like 30 to 40 tickets. So they're on sale now. Go to victimexperience.com. You can get tickets now, and I'm not pushing. We always sell out. We don't sell a lot. So if you want to try Victim, get your tickets soon. And other than that, we are opening a new attraction in our Freakling Brothers Trilogy of Terror. We open a new attraction, we tear one down, and we open a new one every 5 years. And the Circus of Horrors, which is one of our oldest, is gone. It's been gutted, and it's gone. And we're opening a new one in its spot. Nobody knows what it is. Tonight at midnight, it's being announced on our website, but we're going to announce it here right now. And social media is going to grasp onto it before we even announce. So, first of all, I'd like to introduce Leviathan Ammon. It's our mascot for today's show. As you know, some of you who've been to Freakling Brothers know that we like to take classic themes that people think are too cheesy or corny and do them the Freakling Brothers way. So we're doing a very, very classic Halloween theme this year. Our new show is called Freakling Brothers Coven of 13. We're doing witches. And we're doing witches the right way. You're not going to see any long green noses and warts. No cats, no frogs. This is going to be very, if there's such a thing, realistic black magic, kind of modern witches. And we're very, very proud of it. It's going to be incredibly immersive, incredibly interactive for the first time. We've never done a truly interactive show. So we're trying a lot of new things, and we're taking some risks, but it's not an extreme haunt. It's a haunt for adults, but teenagers and adults. It's going to be scary as hell, but we're not going to cuss at you and we're not going to touch you. So I dare you all to come.
And with that, that brings a close to our Extreme Survivors panel. When you head out of the room, the new creature from Freakling Brothers will be waiting outside to take pictures with you, light up social media.
You can try and take a picture with him.
Oh, he's going to be evasive maybe? Or he's going to kill you, one of the two. Thank you guys so much. You have a good time? We have a